Hi guys, it's Jordan from P&P Campers. Just going to be doing a handover video on this Carthago Chic C line. So it's based on a 2016 Fiat Ducato 3 litre automatic chassis. As you can see, it's in the silver colour and the bodywork throughout is absolutely fantastic. Can't really fault it on that whatsoever. A couple of the stickers were starting to kind of crumple up a tiny little bit, but I've basically just chopped off these little lines here to get rid of the worst of it, so hopefully that's solved the majority of the issues there. They do have, it's a common problem, it's one of the only things that I know of with these Carthagos that actually tends to go a little bit wrong is the stickers, but we had to do the same thing on the last one that we had, and the customer was happy, so there we go. Right, so what I'll do is I'll start under the bonnet and then basically I'll walk my way around on the outside and then we'll jump inside and I'll show you around the inside as well. So being an A-Class, it is a little bit tricky to get to the bits and pieces under the bonnet, but basically what I'll just do is show you the side. So over on the left hand side there, this reservoir on the left is your brake fluid, power steering fluid, not brake fluid, power steering fluid, engine coolant, and your brake fluid reservoir is just there. You've then got your oil filling point just here under this little cover here, and your engine oil dipstick is this red one here at the front. You've got your washer fluid filling point just here. You've got a positive terminal for the engine battery just here underneath this little cover, and your air filter sits inside this box just here. The reason they put a positive terminal under the bonnet is because the engine battery itself sits under the floor inside the cab. So if you wanted to get to the engine battery, you have to take this carpet out, take a cover off, and another metal cover as well, actually, to get access to it. So it's a little bit of a pain if you wanted to, if you were in desperate need to jump start it, you've got the positive terminal under the bonnet, so it makes it a bit easier. Just mention as well, this near side door, obviously because it's an A-Class, they have to make these doors themselves, and they're normally a bit flimsy and sort of a bit light feeling compared to your standard Fiat doors, but this, I can tell you, is absolutely solid as a rock. Really sturdy. You've got the proper speaker inside there, your wing mirror adjustments, electric window there, so it's been done properly. Right, so that's done under the bonnet there. You see you got your mirrors here, again, all in really nice condition. Can't see any problems with those whatsoever. Your diesel filling point is inside this little cover just here. So that is where you would fill up your diesel from. The next cupboard along, this is purely just for storage. There's not anything else in here that I need to show you. The anchoring points for your forward-facing seat belts are just here, so just bear that in mind. But otherwise, the only thing that's in here is this little pipe over here in the corner, which is one of your Audi heating, central heating pipes. So try not to get too close to that because that will be hot if you're using it. But you can see here is a sort of good example of how your double skin works in this particular motorhome. So when I say double skin, I mean it's got two floors, and so basically it works in the same way as like a cavity wall does in a house. So if you see there, we've got a gap of about 6 inches or so to the secondary floor underneath the main floor that you actually stand on inside the van. So not only do you have storage underneath there all the way throughout, you've also got another massive plus to that is the fact that all of your tanks are sort of on board rather than sitting up underneath the van. So it's much less likely for your water inside your tanks in this particular vehicle to freeze up in the winter because it sits above ground level and between that sort of cavity there between the two floors. So it's another really good thing there. Obviously really good for insulation inside the van as well, but yeah, it's a really big plus. So you've got your gas locker here. If I just show you what we've got going on in here. So we've got a changeover valve up here at the moment. You can see we've got one bottle plugged in. and a pipe coming across to the right hand side of this regulator. So that's why we've got this aimed here towards the right. If I just zoom in there, so you've got this little bit here aiming towards the right there, because we've got this bottle here attached on that side. Other thing to mention, if you find that you turn the bottle on, which by the way is by going anti-clockwise around to the left, if you find that you put the gas bottle on and you still can't get any gas to go through to the inside of the vehicle, so you've got no gas at your hob or anything at all, couple of things to check on this one. So you've got this little button here on the actual pigtail, so press on that for a couple of seconds to allow any air to come out and purge it through. And if you still can't get any gas to come through, you've also got this little green button just here on the actual regulator, which is your crash sensor. So basically what this does is it should recognize if you have a crash, and it should stop the gas coming from here into the vehicle. And so if for whatever reason it thinks it's been in a crash but it hasn't, it will isolate it. So you just have to push and hold on that for 3 seconds, and it'll allow the gas to come back through. So for the time being, I'm going to leave that on because we want to show you some things working on the inside. You've got your tyre pressures just here as well. The tyre pressures are always a lot higher than people expect. So yes, that is correct. It's about 80 psi on these tyres. Just in there so you can see that. Right, the next thing we get to is this little vent here. So you haven't got to do anything with this. This is just basically the vent for your Audi heating system. So if you've got the heating on, you will feel hot air pumping out through the bottom of this. There is a drain on the inside of the van, which I'll show you to in a minute for that. But yeah, that's just the vent for that. So again, that will get very, very hot if you're using it. So just bear that in mind. They've got your freshwater filling point. So if you do need to fill up the fresh tank, basically you'll have a key. If I just show you, key on the fob there is going to be this one here, which actually says Carthago on it. So to unlock it, key goes in, twist it whichever way it will go until it stops, and then take the key out. You'll then be able to push this in and round to the left, and that will allow you to take this out. So the sort of reverse of that to lock it back up. So pop it in and round to the right until it stops. Key in, twist it, take the key out, and now I cannot take that out. So that is how you lock up those water filling points. I will point out as well, but I'll just sort of mention it now while we're on the outside, you have got twin tanks for both fresh and waste. So I'll point those out to you, but the big obviously plus side to that is that you've got a huge amount of water. I think when I looked at the specs, it came up saying that there was about 100 litres in each tank, I think. Now, don't hold me to that because it might be not exactly right, but the fact that you've got the twin tanks is really, really handy. There's nothing to show you inside this side actually. I've got the other side open up, so I'll wander around that side now. And by the way, the bonnet release handle is just in here inside the passenger door, just there. Right, so there's another locker just here at the front, just to allow you access to the storage there underneath this seat, and it also gives you access to that double skin floor as I showed you on the other side. The step comes out with this little switch just here, so if I press up on that brings the step in and out really nice and easily. These two vents just here, these are both to do with your fridge. So if you wanted any access to the back of the fridge, obviously you shouldn't really need any access to the back of that. It's only if you get a problem with something. So that is the access to the back of the fridge there. Next one across is your toilet cassette locker. So you have got a SOG unit on here, which is why you've got this bit of pipe coming towards the top of the cassette. So to take this out, it's really easy. All you need to do is lift up on the little orange handle here, and then the entire cassette will come towards you. In this case, you will need to take this little pipe off, which just literally pops off from here. Take the pipe off, and then you'll be able to take this entire thing out. So from there, all you need to know is that you drain it out from this little valve just here. You just basically unscrew this and drain it from there. And there's a little orange button, circular button at the back, which you hold down whilst you're emptying it out. And that's it. A little bit of blue fluid goes back inside here before you push it back in, but basically a little bit in there and push it back. Make sure that little orange handle goes down over its little flap there. And that's it. Really, really easy. So you have got the full-size Omnistore awning up there above the door and everything over there. So I can't really get the awnings out on the video because I haven't got two hands to do it with. But I have got another video on how to use the awnings as a general video. It's not actually this exact type of awning even, but it will give you enough kind of, if you look at our YouTube channel, you can see it will say Fiamma awning instructions, and you can have a little look at that if you want to and see how that works. So you've got your electric hookup point down here. So if you had access to an electric hookup cable, what it means is that you won't have to worry about any battery voltages. Now, obviously, this has got the solar panel up on the roof, and so the leisure battery is at a really good level anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about it regardless. But if you were wild camping and you were going to sort of be without any charging whatsoever for a long time, it's one of those things, it depends on how much power you're using, obviously, from the leisure battery. If you've got some 12-volt plugs in and got tellies running constantly or something, then it's likely that your leisure battery will start to struggle a little bit. But I'll show you how to keep your eye on that leisure battery when we get inside anyway. So in the garage, if I just jump in here, you've got a couple of things. You've got a external shower point here. So that is a hot and cold external shower point. So, for boots or dogs or whatever, if you wanted to, as long as you've got the water hot inside, it will come through hot there as well if you need it to. I'll just take this little cover off here and show you what we've got in here. So it might look a little bit, well, it's nice and neat, obviously, because it's Carthago, but this is so simple. This whole unit is really simple. All we've got up here at the top here, we've got this is your charger. So if you were plugged in on the mains, you would have this charger here come on, and a little red light should come on over here in the corner. Next one down is all of your trip switches. So as long as they're all facing up and showing red in the little triangle below it, it means that they are all on. So making sure that they're all in that position there is, that's what's going to allow it to work. And then underneath that, we've got all of your 12-volt fuses. So if you have any issues whatsoever with anything 12-volt, and when I say 12-volt, I mean lights, water pump, your electric step, various things, but if you have any problems like that, you can have a little look in here and you can actually see there's a little tiny diagram next door to each one of those fuses and a number. So the diagram should sort of explain to you what the fuse does. And the number obviously tells you the size of the fuse, what amp the fuse needs to be. And so let's just say, for example, the water pump stops working altogether. We can have a little look in here and have a little look there and just see if we can find the one that's got a water pump, which is there, the one that says 7.5 on it. And so, you would just take that fuse out, have a look at it. If it was blown, replace it. So that is the big plus side to having one of those units. You can look at things yourself without having to bring it back to us or whoever. But obviously you can bring it back to us for anything whatsoever. But it's just in case, if you were away on holiday or something and you need to sort of get something sorted quickly, you can have a little look there if you need to. So I will put this cover back on in a minute once I've got two hands, because it's a little bit awkward to put it into place. But that is the garage. There's not really much else to show you in there, to be fair. There we go. So I'm going to jump inside the van now, and you'll notice straight away when we get in that I've got all of these floor hatches up so that I can show you what you've got going on in there. So just dry my feet off a little bit because it's a little bit wet outside. So the first one I'm going to show you is going to be this one down here. I'll just start from the front and work my way back. So basically what this one is here is your secondary wastewater tank. So I looked in here a minute ago, it's absolutely bone dry. So, you know, basically this is only going to start filling up if your other waste tank is completely full. So I would imagine it's probably unlikely this will ever actually have any water in it, because the other tank is pretty big anyway. But anyway, that is your secondary waste tank. The drain for that is this one just over here, so you just literally twist that 90 degrees and anything from inside that tank will drain out onto the floor. This one here is just storage in the double skinned area of the van, and the next one over is quite important. So this one here, we've got a red drain and a blue drain. So you've got the blue one there, it says freshwater drain. So basically, if you wanted to drain out your fresh tank completely, you would have to open that one up there. So to literally just lift up the tab so it's facing vertical, sorry, rather than horizontal. And the red one there is slightly more important. That is your boiler drain off point. So again, same idea, you lift it upright to make it drain out, but this is slightly more important in the sense that you do have to drain out the boiler before winter. If you're going to winterize the van, then you do have to make sure that that is lifted up. So basically, in all honesty, if you're going to winterize the van, just go around and open up all the drains that I'm going to show you, and that should stop it all from freezing up. So that is the boiler drain there, the red one. Just here as well, we've got the freshwater pump, and over towards the left under here, you can't really see much about it because it's kind of tucked up underneath, but this is actually your inverter, which I will run through as well when we get up to the control panel area. So I'm just going to drop this down so I don't fall down the hole. And I shall do this one as well. Right, the one at the back here is probably the most important one. So this is the one that's actually got your main tanks. So the clear looking one over here is your fresh tank, and the black one here is your waste tank. So same, just as easy to use these. Basically, if you want to drain out your wastewater, you've got this handle just here to drain that out. And if you wanted to drain out your freshwater tank, you've got this little handle here. So you undo this, 2 turns around to the left will open up that valve, and it will drain out all of your fresh water out onto the floor. I will also say that Carthago have been ridiculously clever. I've literally just seen this. This pipe just here is one of your Aldi heating pipes, and I can see it actually runs alongside the fresh tank. It actually goes into a little specific gap on the fresh tank, and that is going to be so that it doesn't freeze up in the winter. So yeah, very, very clever. I've only just realized that. Anyway, so yeah, so fresh tank and waste tank. Now, the other thing I was going to show you, I mentioned outside, is inside this little nook here on the side of the bed, you've also got this one here, which is your secondary, this is actually your primary fresh tank. So if you were starting to fill up the tank with water, that's the one that's going to get the initial amount, and then it will start to go into here as well. So the fresh drain is still that one there. All right, so that will still drain out all your water, but you've got the main tank in there as well. Make sure that's on flush. So yeah, that is your fresh and waste water tanks. Right, so the layout in here is fairly standard, to be fair, for one of these A-class vehicles. You can get them in different versions, where you can have some where they've got like a sort of transverse bed here at the back rather than the single beds. But yeah, so we've got the drop-down bed over the cab. This is an electric drop-down bed, so I won't go all the way down, but if you see here, bed coming down really, really nicely from this little switch in here. Put it back up. And just hold on to that until it stops. Okay, so that is working absolutely perfectly at the moment. That's not a problem with that whatsoever. What I will say is it is unbelievably important to put these seats down completely all the way forwards, and also just as important to put the sun visors all the way up. So I have heard horror stories about the windscreens being popped out and stuff like that from people not putting the sun visors back up properly before putting the bed all the way down. So that is really, really important to do that. So I'm just going to run you through the cab now, and then I'll get on to the control panel and all that sort of stuff. So in the cab itself, I've got a couple of things. We've got the Carthago original reversing camera, which comes on really nicely. You've got a couple of switches here. So you've got your heated mirrors switch on the right. You've got your electric step switch there, so you can bring the step in from in the cab if you want to. You've got another, this is your mirror adjustment here, so you can adjust either mirror from there as well. You've got your front and rear fog lamps and your headlight aim there as well. You've also got the cruise control from this little bottom stalk here on the left, and obviously your indicators and lights are on the top left hand stalk there. As I said, we're on the automatic gearbox. Now these automatics are stupidly easy to use. So you've got neutral up to the top right hand side. Reverse is straight down. So straight down as in on the right hand side. Back to the middle and allow it to go over to the left will be into drive. So you've got two options on the drive. You've got A and M, as you can see on the front there. And it's literally just as easy as, if you've got an A on the dash up here next to the number, you can just drive along and it's in fully automatic mode. And if you wanted to put it into sort of manual mode or Tiptronic mode, you push once to the left and it will just basically take that A away. So that means then that you'll have to change through the gears manually by pushing down to go up the gears or up to go down the gears. Okay, so again, if you wanted to put that back to automatic mode, you just push once more to the left and make sure that you've got your A up there next to your number. Above that, you have got a little switch there that everyone always asks me about. I never really knew what it was before, but I've sort of fairly recently found out. It's to do with the automatic gearbox. So if you're going uphill, you know, especially because it's quite a heavy vehicle, to be fair. So, you know, it's a 5-ton vehicle. Yes, it's on the 3 litre, but because it's automatic, what the automatic gearbox will try and do all the time is get you in the most efficient gear possible. So if you're going uphill, every now and again, you might find that you'll need a little bit more power, or you didn't want it to change up the gear so soon because you're going uphill. So if you press that button there, if you're going uphill, it should allow the gearbox to hold on to the gears a little bit longer to stop you from losing any power going uphill. That's all it's for, really. Right, you've got your Pioneer double-din head unit just here as well, which you can turn on from the control panel. And that'll basically be powered from the leisure battery instead of the engine. I'll show you about that when we get there anyway. Below that, we've got the new style heating controls, air conditioning switches, this one here. You've then got the, this is all stuff to do with the like cruise control, and that one is, I can never remember exactly what that one is, but it'll be in the paperwork to show you what that is. I think it's something to do with the traction control, I think, that one there. You can lock and unlock the cab from there, and you've got your hazard warning lights from here. Other than that, in the cab, I don't know if there's much else really. Oh, you have got, just down here, that is your solar regulator, I think. Yeah, solar regulator, CBE solar regulator from in there. And oh, the other thing that's in there is your Teleco. It's all to do with your TV and the satellite. I might have to do a separate little short video on the satellite, because I haven't actually done the hab check on this, so I've not kind of played around with the satellite. You've got the skybox in there. Previous owner would have put that in. Let's just see quickly if I can just pop her up. So I just pressed on, basically. Right, so just by pressing on there, I can now hear, and you can probably see, satellite is now up and it should start spinning around. And pretty much what it'll do is it'll lock on, or it'll try and lock on to whatever satellite that you've got selected up here. So if we just wait for a second to see if it'll do that. Just making some little adjustments now, I think. Anyway, I'll leave that to carry on for a minute, and we'll see if that works in just a minute. But basically, that is your Teleco satellite switch there. The actual box for that is this one over here on the left. That's the actual power system for it. TV comes up from here, and you can obviously use that. You've got all of your remotes and things are inside this little box here as well. I'll have another look at that in just a minute. I'm probably doing something wrong, to be completely honest. As I say, I haven't actually had a chance to look at that yet. So you have got, on this particular vehicle as well, you've got the EP hydraulics. So basically this is your hydraulic rams that come down to level the entire van up. Now you will find that this won't do anything at all unless the engine's running. Okay, so you will have to start the engine up in order to use this, but I'll just show you here. It'll probably come up straight away saying, yeah, ignition. So basically you've got two options. You can either put it into automatic and it should level you up automatically, or you can press manual there and it will allow you to move each corner specifically to whatever you want it to be. So you can do that there. Really, really easy to use, like super, super easy. So the next bit's going to be your control panel. So the control panel itself is a CBE control panel, and it is really, really simple to use. You've basically got power switch in the middle, lights, water pump, gas regulator warmer, the radio that I mentioned a minute ago for the cab. You've got your fresh and wastewater levels and your engine and leisure battery voltages. So you literally just, it's so straightforward there, nice and easy. So what I'm going to do now, because it's coming up to the sort of half an hour point, I'm going to put the video, I'm going to make it 2 parts. So I'll start a second part of the video now, and we'll be going through all of your appliances and things as well. Thanks very much.